Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Teal and I really have a problem. So it's been a hot minute since I've done any sort of writing vlog. My first one was the NaNoWriMo writing vlog. Basically, in terms of what I was doing for NaNoWriMo, I haven't really written anything NaNoWriMo related since the end of November. I won NaNoWriMo and I wrote 50,000 words. But then I just sort of didn't write for a long time. I was kind of burned out and I wanted to give myself a break. So I basically gave myself all of December because then it was sort of Christmas and I really just fell out of writing, which is bad. But it did sort of like open me back up to sort of like my, you know, creative workings, I guess. At least for the month of November, like I kind of got back into the swing of things. And you know, Christmas especially is a time when I always feel really creative, even if I like took time off to just enjoy the holiday and spend time with my parents and my family and my cat and whatnot, you know. And I kind of like put writing to the side a little bit. That didn't really stop the creativity, and herein lies the issue. So I've been working on what I'm just going to call like my main books. I'm just going to call it like my main book. I've been working on my main book for a really long time. I kind of don't want to admit how long just yet because it's a long time. I think come December I decided that while I had been writing like really fun fan fiction, just sort of like exercise my brain a little bit and get back into the swing of things, I didn't really want to continue writing that fan fiction post NaNoWriMo, mainly because it would mean that I wouldn't actually be working on my books, my novels, the things that I want to publish. I would just be working on something that, to me, that fan fiction is like a sandbox. It's like, you know, like a warm-up, like an exercise. And at the end of November, you know, I felt warmed up, I felt exercised. I didn't really feel the need to continue with that fan fiction seriously. So who knows, maybe I'll save that for next NaNoWriMo and try and finish it then, or maybe I'll do something else. But you know, it was nice to just get back into writing without having to really think about it, because it was fan fiction. But with my books, with my novels, with like main book, it requires a lot of planning, a lot of thought. The genre that I'm trying to write is fantasy, which obviously means that there's a lot of work on my part to make like a cohesive world and, you know, like get a structured society, you know, like a culture, come up with like new races and fantastical things, and like not try and fall into, you know, the common tropes and plots of like most fantasy novels. So I'm thinking about main book, and like I'm trying to do a little bit of world building, you know, so like I'm trying to come up with like a finished map, and I'm trying to come up with like a finished history, and I did work on that for a few days. I did work on like getting like a layout of the history of like some of like the major things in my book. I don't want to be like too specific just yet, but like I was trying to get like a full like history, at least the history that's relevant to the ongoings, like to the story. So that was what I was doing, and then I was doing like little bits of world building in between, like what sort of like magical things exist in this world, or like what sort of new things do I want to invent to like make it my own sort of story. And that was going fine, and I had kind of planned to spend Christmas either reading or writing, because I've been reading a lot more recently, and December is just always a time when my creativeness, my creativity just sort of goes into overdrive. And I don't know whether it's because December is a time when I'm usually given lots of books, such as for Christmas, or when it's a time that I buy more books because I've got Christmas money, or you know, because 9 times out of 10, if I'm gonna get something like a new laptop or something new to write in, like a notebook or a journal, I tend to get them for Christmas. So I tend to get a lot of resources for being like fun and creative around Christmas time. So I think my brain is just predisposed to go into extreme maximum creative overdrive over Christmas, and this is where the issue comes in. So I'm there trying to focus on main book, I'm there trying to write main book and like trying to come up with like new history and new like world building aspects for main book, right? Okay, main book is my focus, main book is my main book. And then like I think it was just before Christmas time, this kind of other thought, this kind of other story started like popping up in my head, and I sort of had like a vague premise for how I imagined it starting. I could picture like a main character, and I could picture like another major character. My brain just came up with something like really interesting and fun and creative, and not the sort of thing that I can put into like current main book. You know, this was its own thing. This was its own standalone story. This was like a whole separate entity that was like, you know, like nibbling away at the edge of my attention. And I was just thinking, you know, I mean, I don't really know what I'm gonna, I don't know how to like, I'm gonna have to differentiate this to you in some way. I'm just gonna call this book Sword Book. These are obviously not the names of anything that I'm gonna call it, but like, I can't think of anything right now. I'm gonna have to differentiate several different things in a minute. So I'm trying to work on main book. And then, you know, like just before Christmas time, this Sword Book just sort of like started pushing its way in, like, hey, maybe think of me for a bit, or hey, maybe this is a cool idea, or ooh, hey, did you think about this for this new character that your mind is making up? I'm just kind of like, please, I'm trying to focus on main book, right? But it didn't stop there. And then, you know, maybe a few days after that, I thought, okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write it down. I'm gonna write down that little bit of plot and like my idea, that concept for this like new sword book. I'm gonna write that down and I'm just gonna push it away, and you know, if I think of anything new I can just make some little notes, but I'm trying to focus on main book. Main book is my main book, right? A few days later, you would think that sword book would just be still there in the background, but no, there's something else in the background, and I was thinking, oh my god, what is this now? Another story was sort of coming to mind, and this one was really different. It was unlike main book and completely unlike sword book, and it had a really good concept. Like, I was kind of proud of myself because it was really interesting, and I was like, man, I really have to write this sometime. So we'll call this one thread book. So I'm trying to work on main book, sword book keeps like trying to get in the way, and now thread book's kind of walking in like, hey guys, am I late to the party? So now there's thread book, and so I do the same. I like make a little kind of document thing and I write down as much as I can, and there's several pages of like notes for this one because it's got like a really cool, specific, interesting like hook, and I'm like, this is a book that I want to read, this is a book that I want to write, but I'm so dedicated to main book, right? I don't know what it is, except that by the end of Christmas I had 8 new books. Okay, so like around the time of New Year's, there wasn't just like, this is not including main book, so this was just new books. So there wasn't just sword book, or there wasn't just thread book. There were an additional 6 entire, completely separate stories that just came pouring out of my mind, and that I couldn't stop, and that I couldn't figure out where they had come from. Why are they here? Why are they bugging me? Surely there are other writers that they can go to and sit in their heads. But no, it has to be in my head when I'm trying to be dedicated to one book. I am a monogamous book writer. I am trying to make myself a monogamous book writer because in the past I haven't been, but I really think that, you know, if I want to get main book finished, if I want to get main book up to par, if I want to really work on main book, my life's work, my raison d'etre, I have got to push all these other books to the side. And the main thing is, one of these 8 books, one of these 8 new books, I'm going to call Rat Book, okay? Rat Book was just so much more in your face than any of the others. Like, I had less of an idea of a hook than I did with like the thread book, but oh my god, Rat Book. This sounds so stupid, and I know this is going to sound so stupid editing all these stupid names for these stupid books, but Rat Book just spoke to me. Rat Book was just kind of like, I don't know, Rat Book was just so new and cool, and I was like, damn, Rat Book. And Rat Book was, at the time, Rat Book was the newest one that had come to me, and like, I knew the characters, like, you know it's real, you know it's real. Other writers, please, oh my god, back me up on this, you know it's real when you have a playlist for your book. Rat Book was the first to get its own playlist. Rat Book has a playlist, and there might only be like 3 or 4 songs on there right now, but to say that I only have like a page and a half of notes for Rat Book, that's like a lot of songs. I have feelings for Rat Book. I don't know if other authors know this, but like when you see a story and you see its parts in your head and you can kind of try and gauge like how long a story it would be. Rat Book is, because like some of the others, like most of the others, it's like, oh, that's a standalone, you know, like Sword Book, that's just one book, you know, Thread Book, that's probably just one book. Rat Book is 2, if not 3. The amount of story in there, in my head already, I'm like, that's either going to be like 2 fairly long books or just 3 like decent sized books. Like Rat Book was up in my face like all through, like between Christmas and New Year's. It was just kind of like, it was Rat Book City. I don't know what else to say about my head, and like I'm there trying to think of like magical flora and fauna for main book, and Rat Book is just kind of like punching me in the face, just kind of like, no, you're gonna think about Rat Book. And I kind of thought that Rat Book would be the bane of my life for possibly several weeks, because as much as I know that with that new story, I'm now going to think about it for the rest of my life until I write it, including in all the time that I'm going to be writing my other books, because I have multiple book series that I've started over my life, and I do think about all of them. No matter if I'm writing one, I don't necessarily make notes for others or write others, but I still think about them. I still think about those characters, and I know Rat Book is going to be one of those where the others, like Sword Book and Thread Book and the other 5, not including Rat Book, like those, I know that there's a high chance that they're really, like, to me they're good stories. I would love to read them, and maybe one day I will get the chance to write them, but right now I'm not thinking about them constantly. I'm not obsessing over them. Rat Book on the other hand, like those characters, they're there, their motives, their motivations, things that they're doing, they're there. I can hear bits of conversation, I can, oh my god. And I thought, woe is me, I thought, stupid, sweet summer child, I thought that Rat Book was as bad as it was going to get. And just when I kind of thought that maybe I had made as many notes as I would need to on Rat Book, this other story came to me. And I don't know if it's set in the same, like, world as Rat Book, but this is my newest story, and it came to me, I want to say 2 days ago, possibly 3. I can't remember how many times I've slept, because I haven't slept much, because this new story, which means it's the 9th story that I've come up with in the past like 2 weeks, and these just aren't like little stories, like little ideas. Like, no, I could write a full-fledged book from any one of these ideas, and I'm kind of starting to think that maybe my job should be like one of those people that just gives other people like ideas and says, here, like, ghostwrite this and you can have that as your novel, but also you pay me for the idea. Like, I could do that, because I am a factory of ideas right now. It's like all the planets have aligned and they're just like beaming new thoughts into my head, but the last one they beamed is, they really do save the best for last. I don't know whether this is in the same universe as Rat Book, but oh my god, it's one where, you know, writers back me up, so, you're gonna back me up a lot on this, you know, you're just gonna enable me to be this horrible, crappy, like, just confused little writer, but enable me, please, back me up on this. Sometimes a book and its characters will come to you, and like with Rat Book, I know the characters but I don't love them. Like, I'm not particularly attached to them. I know them and they're interesting, but the book that came after Rat Book, what am I gonna call this? I don't even have like I'm trying to think of like a stupid little title. Oh, what would I call this book? I don't know. I just, in my head, I just got this feeling that it was a very particular kind of book I wanted to write about. All I will say is it's much more gritty than the others, and it's, I don't know, I don't want to say like an adult fantasy, because like, normally when I think of adult fantasy, I tend to think there's probably going to be like either extreme sex or extreme gore, but I just mean it's definitely not young adult. And just right from the off, the 2 main characters I really care about. Like, I really love them. I feel like I've known them for a long time, and I think it's because I've been very aware of their, like, character archetype for a time. And the story itself that I have in my head, like, that sort of basic, not necessarily the genre, what am I trying to say? Like, the premise at its most basic is something that to me is very familiar. I'm like, I must have seen this somewhere before, I must have read it before, because I'm so familiar with it. I'm so familiar with this setup, but I can't think of a single thing, not one single thing, and I know it exists, I know it must exist, because I'm so familiar with it, but I can't actually think of a single instance I can't think of a book I've read or a TV show that I've watched or a movie that I've seen. There is this, and I'm like, well, hang on a minute, because I know it so closely and I know it exists. And you're like, if I told you what it was, you'd be like, oh yeah, that's really typical, I know exactly what that's going to be like, which in itself is weird. Basically, my main problem is, the thing that I've been trying to get to is, I keep trying to write main book, and now 9 other books have decided that they're all just going to pour from the sky like various winged beasts and take residence in, you know, the belfry in my brain. Like, I guess they're bats now. It's kind of like I don't know where all these stories came from, because I've had like little ideas for new stories, you know, like consistently over the past couple of years, maybe over the past 5 years, I've thought of like 4 or 5 new stories that one day, once I'm done with like my main book, the thing that I really want to write, once I'm done with that, maybe I could pick up any one of those ideas and write them. And it tends to be maybe 1-ish a year. These can't just be like little ideas. I've had dozens of like tiny little sparks of creativity or ideas, or maybe this would be fun, maybe that would be fun, but like I have to have a good enough idea. Like, if I was to pitch it, I would be able to pitch any one of these ideas. That's how cohesive they have to be for me to count it. And just somewhere from the dark recesses of the universe, 9, and I'm like, not in like a bragging rights kind of way either, but in just a sort of way where it's like, I don't know, I've been out of the writing loop for a little while, and I just keep thinking like, maybe over the years all these ideas were just getting like backed up at a door because like my writing door was closed, and they were all just sort of waiting there to come in like in this big queue. And then, you know, after I did NaNoWriMo and at Christmas time when I started trying to get back into writing, they all just flooded in. It's like, hey, we've been waiting for like a real long time. Who knows? But that is my problem, and I realise this is meant to be like a writing vlog, and it's a vlog in the sense that this is a video log. A log of my thoughts and feelings at this current point in my writing journey. And part of me just really wishes that I had the time to write all these books. And the thing is, main book is going to be the one that takes the longest time to write. These other little books I could write and publish. It might take me like a year to finish like any one of these individual books, but main book could take such a long time. There's a reason that main book is like my life's work. It's just that annoying thing of any of those other books I could write and possibly go to publishing maybe within a year if I like really got my head down and focused. But main book is kind of like, I'm not even, just feel like main book could take years. And it's just the thing of, I'm gonna have to sit on all these ideas for so long. Ugh. So I don't know if this video was interesting to watch. I personally really just like to hear writers just talk, I guess inanely like this, about their books and their process and what they're writing. And I know this has just kind of been a rant, but maybe it's more for me, and maybe in a million years I can look back at this and be like, oh, I finally wrote that book. So I hope this wasn't like too jarring, I hope this wasn't too dull. I have a feeling that possibly this is going to be of interest to no one, but I mean, I want to keep up with writing vlogs. I said I wanted to do writing vlogs, and you know what? This is what's happening at the moment. This is what's going on. So, you know, as I continue to write and hopefully like really like get my focus together for main book, you know, hopefully when that happens, I'll have more to talk about. But for now, I am just stuck in limbo with a bunch of other books, and I can't write any of them because I really want to focus on main book, and they're just going to be there to taunt me like the annoying little attention-seeking demons that they are. So with that said, please feel free to open up dialogue in the comments down below if you want to link me to like any of your writing videos or your writing vlogs. I do tweet a fair bit occasionally about, like, I have a specific book Twitter, and I only ever tweet about reading or writing on that Twitter, mostly writing. So if you want to follow me over on Twitter, I'll have like all my links and things down below, or you can follow me over on elfreads on Instagram, where I post really bad pictures of books. So yeah, hopefully I don't know, maybe you're in the same boat as me, maybe you're like this. I know when I talked about it, a lot of people also said that they too get ideas while they're already trying to work on current ideas and current works in progress, and sometimes it's good to just share your thoughts and feelings and experiences, and maybe other people will feel not so alone in their struggles. Who knows? So that is it from me. I really should go and write or something. Yeah, that is it for this video. I don't have an outro. I just don't have an outro, so this is gonna be it. And I'll see you maybe in the future in another writing vlog, when maybe I've reined these hellions into some form, some semblance of control. Wish me luck, guys. I will see you some other time. Bye.